Hello and welcome. My name is Marie Strauch. I am the educator with your new school. Welcome to the world of Nail Alliance. Our mission statement is to provide the salon industry with all the tools needed to help make salon businesses even more successful with the latest and greatest in nail products, establish opportunity for learning through proper education and training courses domestically and internationally, create superiority within the industry as the go-to nail manufacturer for state-of-the-art products proven to perform to the best of standards while upholding the motto, done right from the start, and understand the needs of the salon industry. As nail professionals ourselves, we have a clear understanding of the industry and the demand for the highest quality products and services possible, which is why quality has and will always be our #1 priority. So who is Nail Alliance? We are the Gelish Soak-Off Gel Polishes, Gelish Hard Gels, Morgan Taylor Nail Polish, Bear Luxury Manicure Pedicure Products, Nail Harmony, Prohesion, and more. Today's webinar is going to focus on the Polygel system. Here pictured is the complete master kit. It includes 4 of the 6 polygel colors, a large bottle of your slip solution, 4 poly keys, your poly tool, and your essentials, which is your pH bond, foundation base coat, and top it off top coat, along with a 2-ounce bottle of your nail surface cleanse. So Gelish Polygel, we've just made all hard gels and acrylic obsolete. Polygel is a no ratio, no runny, no waste. It comes in these convenient squeeze tubes. Each tube will give you about 30 to 50 sets per tube. What is not included in the master kit that I highly recommend having on hand if you are going to be a polygel user is the synthetic brush restorer. This is a patent pending polygel brush restorer. It's going to revive the bristles, help maintain their shape and integrity to ensure a flawless finish. I will show you on camera when I switch my camera on what will happen if you do not keep your brush in optimum condition. And your poly tool, this is your brush. You'll have a synthetic number 10 brush on one end and a spatula on the other, which helps for applying and doing your polygel a breeze. I highly recommend the poly tool as well. You can use a traditional gel brush and then either use an orange wood stick or a slicer or mixer to slice your polygel as well if you don't have the poly tool. So exactly what is polygel? Polygel is a tripolymer. It's a polymer from an acrylic, and a ligmer from a hard gel, and a polymer from a lacquer. It is molded with an alcohol-based product called slip solution, and then it's cured into a LED or UV light. So the first thing you want to do when prepping or preparing to do a polygel application is to do a dry manicure. So it's no different than any other artificial nail service. You're going to sanitize your hands, your client's hands and nails, push back the eponychium and clean the surrounding nail plate of any excess cuticle, file and shape the natural nail, and then using your 180 grit buffer, you're going to gently remove the surface shine off of the surface of the nail and then cleanse the dust. At that point, if you decide to glue tips on, you would glue tips on at this point, and then after gluing your tips and blending them, you would remove the dust again with nail surface cleanse and a lint-free wipe, and then further dehydrate with your pH bond, and then apply a thin coat of your foundation gel. You want to really massage the foundation into the nail plate. You want this to be a thin application. You don't need a lot. You want to use it very sparingly. Be sure to cap your free edge and then cure for 5 seconds in your 18G. After your foundation gel has cured, you want to use a clean, dry brush and just give your foundation a dry brush. This is going to remove any uncured foundation off the surface of the nail, which can be very slippery or slick, and it won't allow your polygel to adhere properly. Now you're ready for your polygel application. So here's an example of just a clear overlay over a natural nail. The application would be the same if you glued a tip on. The only difference is if you've glued a tip on, you're going to want to make sure that you have enough product to create your arc and your structure. If you're doing just a natural nail overlay, you're going to end up using less product. So that's pretty much the only difference. So first thing you want to do is squeeze the right amount of product from the tube. So it really depends on the length of your nail that you're applying it to. So you'll squeeze your tube of polygel using your poly tool, the spatula end. You're going to slice the bead from the end of your tube and you'll roll this bead onto the nail. You'll then dip your brush into your slip solution and you'll begin to pat the product into place and shape the nail as you desire. Once you're satisfied with the shape, you'll then give it a 60-second cure in your 18G. Once it's cured, you'll use your 180 grit file and you'll begin smoothing and contouring the nail and then buffing with your 180 grit buffer. Remove the dust with nail surface cleanse and a lint-free wipe and finish your enhancement with your top it off top coat. Or you can also finish with polish as well. Once your top coat has cured, you'll cleanse the inhibition layer with nail surface cleanse and a lint-free wipe and apply nourishing oil. For a polygel reverse pink and white. Now this is over a natural nail, but again, the application would be the same if you applied this over a tip application. It is a little different for sculptured, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the next couple of slides. But for a natural nail overlay or a tip overlay, after you've applied or after you've performed your proper prep, which is your dry manicure, and you've applied your foundation base gel, you're now ready for the pink and white application. You're going to squeeze the right amount of either light pink or cover pink or dark pink. We have 3 different pinks to choose from. You'll slice your product with your tool, roll the pink onto the base of the nail. Using your brush dipped in slip solution, you will pat the product into shape, create your reverse smile line, and then cure for 60 seconds. When you're ready for the white, you're going to squeeze just the right amount of white from your poly tube, slice the product with your poly tool, roll it onto the free edge of the nail, and then lightly pat the product into place, overlapping the pink. And it's okay if it overlaps the pink, because when you go and file, you will expose your smile line. And then you'll give that a 60-second cure in your 18G. Once it's cured, then you can begin your finish filing. You'll use your 180 grit file, shape, and contour the nail. You're going to continue to file until you expose your smile line. Once you've exposed your smile line and you're satisfied with your filing, shaping, and contouring, you'll cleanse the nail with nail surface cleanse and a lint-free wipe, and then top your polygel with top it off top coat. Give that a 30-second cure, and then cleanse the inhibition layer with nail surface cleanse and a lint-free wipe, and finish with nourishing oil. Now you can use an e-file when filing and shaping polygel. Polygel is a lot softer of a product. It files effortlessly. I absolutely love the way polygel files. You don't need a lot of pressure. So if you are going to be using an e-file, I just recommend that it's a medium carbide bit, no more than 180 if you're going to be hand filing, and you could use a 150, but you don't need to put a lot of pressure. So just be very careful, because it does file very easily and you don't want to file down to the natural nail. To remove polygel. So polygel, like I said, files very easily, and that's because of the unique tripolymer technology. It's really light and durable while still remaining pliable. So it allows for a quicker breakdown during removal. So this is where you're going to start with your 150, or again, you can use an e-file. Just again, be very careful that you don't overfile and that you're not filing all the way down to the natural nail. But you want to remove about 90% of the bulk, reduce the length and reshape if needed. Switch to your 180 grit buffer to continue to buff down the enhancement, and then switch to your 280 grit buffer and blend it into the remaining enhancement into the natural nail, and then finish with nail surface cleanse and a lint-free wipe to get the dust off, and apply your nourishing oil. So the removal is the same as hard gel. So it is not a soak off product. It is a file off. Other applications that you can do with polygel. So you can do a sculptured pink and white, or just a sculptured nail itself. If you're doing sculptured pink and white, you're going to follow the same prep steps, but you do need to create an extension edge, just like you do with hard gel. So you'll apply your form, Squeeze a small amount of clear polygel from the tube, slice the clear, roll that bead onto the nail. Using your brush dipped in slip solution, you're going to pat the product onto the nail, free edge, and onto the form. So you're creating an extension edge. You'll then give that a 60-second cure. Then you can remove your form, and then you can do your reverse pink and white, just like we did with a tip application or a natural nail overlay. You'll apply your dark pink, or whichever pink you prefer, to the base of the nail up to where you would like your reverse smile line to be. Let that cure for 60 seconds, then squeeze the right amount of white polygel and apply that to the tip or free edge application area. Using your slip solution and your brush, pat the product into shape, give that a 60-second cure. Once that has cured, then you can begin your finish filing either with your 150 or your 180 grit file, and then buff with your 100-180 grit buffer. Remove the dust with nail surface cleanse and a lint-free wipe, and then finish with your top it off top coat and cure for 30 seconds, and then cleanse the top coat. Recommended lights to be used with polygel is our 18G. This does not have a 60-second cycle, so you do have to do 2 rounds of curing. So you do it because it does need 60 seconds to cure. Or you can use the 18G Comfort Cure or 18G Unplugged. Both of these lamps have the 60-second cycle on them. The only difference between these 2 lamps is one is cordless. The cordless or the unplugged 18G has a lithium battery that lasts about 8 to 10 hours of continuous use before it needs to be charged again. Now, if you're somebody like me and you forget to plug in your lamp at the end of the night, and you come in the next day and it's dead, you can use it as a corded lamp. And it is long enough if you need to bring it to the pedicure area and plug it in. It has a long enough cord to do that. And you can charge it while you're using it. Both of them are motion censored. Both have the 60-second cycle to help mitigate heat spikes. The housing of the lamp is acetone resistant as well as the original 18G. But otherwise they are the same lamp. So benefits of polygel. The polygel slip solution is the only thing that has an odor, and it's a pleasant odor. It kind of smells fruity, like it's definitely an alcohol smell, but it has a fruity alcohol smell, more like I don't know, kind of smells like grapefruit to me. It is not self-leveling. So unlike acrylic or hard gel, polygel does not self-level. It stays where you put it. Curing can be done in an LED or a UV. If you are using a UV lamp, it does need a minimum of 2 minutes, and your UV lamp has to have a minimum of 36 watts. Polygel is more flexible than an acrylic, but stronger than a hard gel. You can apply gel polish over polygel or regular lacquer as well. And then polygel will be filled just like an acrylic. So just the same as you would do an acrylic, you would do with polygel. So some comparisons when you're comparing polygel to, say, an acrylic or a hard gel. Your set or play time, the amount of time you have to work with the product. With polygel, it is infinite. You have all the time in the world because it is not going to cure until you put it in an LED light. Acrylic, you're very limited. The moment you create that bead, it begins to firm and polymerize, and you're very limited to the amount of time you have to work and play with the product. Same with hard gel. Even though hard gel does not cure until it's exposed to an LED light, it self-levels so quickly that you end up doing a lot of flash curing to keep the product in place. So therefore your work time is very limited. The workability. There is no chasing with polygel. Again, because it stays exactly where you put it. Because acrylic and hard gel self-levels, hard gel more so than acrylic, there's a lot of chasing that you have to do after the product. And again, with hard gels, you have to do some flash curing. The level of difficulty in performing a polygel service is in comparison to an acrylic or a hard gel. Polygel is probably one of the easiest products you will work with. Acrylic, in my opinion, is moderate, and then hard gel is probably the most difficult to work with when you're comparing it to polygel. The weight of the product, and what I mean by weight is what I mean when you actually feel the weight of the product on your nail. Polygel is feather light. You barely feel that you have anything on your nail, whereas acrylic is our heaviest, and then hard gel is moderate. Your drying time, 60 seconds in an LED light. With acrylic, it's about 8 to 10 minutes before it is fully hardened. And then hard gel is a 30-second cure. Monomer odor. There is no odor with polygel other than the slip solution, which again is an alcohol-based product, so it's not very strong at all. Acrylic, of course, we know that the monomer has a strong odor, and there is no odor with hard gel either. Product wastage. There is no waste with polygel. I like to work one nail at a time, because if I squeeze too much polygel for, let's say, the pinky, I can just scrape that product off of that nail and put it onto the next nail. So I do like to work one nail at a time, so I am making sure that I'm not wasting the product. So there is really no waste with polygel. Acrylic, there's moderate waste, and there's a lot of waste with hard gel, just because of the self-leveling, the flash curing, and adding more product to create and build the shape that you need. So there is more waste with hard gel than there is acrylic or poly. Your application, you do need an LED light for polygel, as well as hard gel. And we all know acrylic, you do not need an LED light. So in my opinion, polygel is the answer. There's no strong odor. It's super easy to use. It offers a fast service, so your clinic floor can have a quick turnaround time. You can apply the soak off gel polishes, traditional polish over your polygel, just like you would any other artificial nail enhancement. So for more information on Nail Alliance products, please contact the account executives at your new school. And then for future webinars, you would contact myself. So I'm going to flip my camera on and we will get to doing some polygel. All right, so I don't have all 6 colors. I have light pink, cover pink, bright white, and natural clear. We have a soft white, and we have a dark pink, which is in between cover pink and light pink. I just, honestly, I really even don't use, my go-to is light pink and natural clear. I really don't even do French all that often with polygel. I just like to do just a standard application and then use gel polish to do my French application. That's just me. It's just easier for backfills. So, but we are going to do a reverse pink and white on, maybe we'll do a sculptured reverse pink and white. And then we'll do just a tip overlay. So I already have a tip glued on and blended. So we'll go ahead and do our prep on this shorter nail. So let me move these out of my way. And then these tube keys are a must when you start getting to the bottom of your tube. And again, I love using the light pink and the natural clear. These are my 2 go-tos. These keys make it a lot easier to squeeze that last bit of polygel out. All right, so first let's do our prep. So after you've sanitized your hands and your client's hands, if they are wearing any polish, make sure you remove their polish using your cuticle pusher. You're going to push back their cuticles. I love the cuticle pusher that has the little buffer pad at the bottom that peels right off. As you're pushing back the cuticle, it's going to buff away any excess cuticle that's remaining on the nail. We're then going to, you can either use your wood file. I like to use my 180, and I like the one with the 400 side because I use the 400 side to file natural nails because it's a nice soft file. And then I have one less file that I need on my station. And then using our buffer, we're going to buff the surface of the nail to remove the surface shine. I'm going to cleanse the nail with nail surface cleanse and a lint-free wipe. It's going to remove any surface oils and the dust as well. At this point is when you'll be gluing your tip on if you're going to do a tip application. And then after gluing your tip on, you want to blend the tip into the natural nail. And then using a lint-free wipe and nail surface cleanse after blending, also make sure that you buff the surface of the plastic tip. because any gel product, it needs a textured surface to adhere to. So you want to make sure that you've also removed the surface shine off of your tip. Then we will further dehydrate with our pH bond. Now you don't need primer with Polygel. Instead of primer, we use the foundation base coat. We find that this gives better adhesion to the Polygel. In the past, when we first launched Polygel, we did use the primer. And honestly, I never had any issues with Polygel using the primer. But we've had more success with the foundation. So that's what we are going to be using from now on. So we're going to, and again, you don't need a lot. When you're applying your foundation, and this is the same as if you were applying a polish application, you're going to start at the midsection of the nail and you're going to push down on the brush and you're going to shimmy the tips of the brush to the cuticle area. And you're just going to really push down and massage a very thin application over the entire nail. You want to be a hairline away from the cuticle and the nail groove. Now this is enough for the next nail. I'm just going to rotate my brush because when I push down on my bristles, it pushed all that excess gel to the surface of my brush. So I'm just going to rotate my brush, move on to the next nail and do the same thing. Starting at the midsection, fan out my bristle, shimmy those bristles to the cuticle area and really pushing down and massaging a very thin application, hairline away from the nail groove. Tap that free edge. And we're going to give this a 5-second cure. And I'll be using the 18G unplugged. Give it a 5-second cure. And then using a clean, dry brush, gel brush, synthetic brush, we're just going to wipe the surface of the nail to just wipe off any excess uncured foundation. Now I'm going to put my form on. Now I don't particularly like reusable forms, but I cannot get the the sticker forms to adhere to the mannequin hand. I just struggle with it and I get aggravated. So I use reusable ones for the mannequin. Not ideal for a person, in my opinion. I like to custom fit my forms, and once you can't custom fit reusable ones. So, but for the mannequin, it works just fine. All right, we're going to do a natural clear overlay over our tip application. And then I'm also going to use the natural clear to create my extension edge for me to then build my pink and white. So I've already dispensed my slip solution. If you order the master kit, you'll get a full 8-ounce size bottle. Brush Restore, I highly recommend investing in Brush Restore if you're going to be a Polygel user. This is what your brush should look like. It's a really nice flat, oval brush, number 10 on one end, spatula on the other. If you do not keep your brush clean and you get Polygel buildup in the bristles, your bristles start to curl. I have tried and tried and tried to restore and get this brush to look like this, and it's not happening. So I do save it because I do like the spatula when I'm mixing colors, when I'm doing nail art. I also like it now that it is frayed. I use this for picking up powder and dusting powder on smaller areas. So if you do have a Polygel brush that has been destroyed, don't get rid of it because it makes a great nail art brush. All right, so we are going to grab our natural clear and we're going to squeeze. I don't know how much I have left in here. So I'm going to squeeze about a pea size.
We're going to slice. I'm just going to recap that, and it stays. So it's on my spatula. It's not going anywhere. I mean, if you wanted, you can dispense all 5 fingers. Again, I like to work one nail at a time, because if I do have too much on here, I'll just scrape it off and roll it onto the next finger so that I'm not wasting. So I'm going to grab my slip solution. I like to just have a lint-free wipe handy just to dab it in case I have too much. You don't need a lot of slip solution. The slip solution is just to keep your bristles saturated and damp so that they don't stick to the polygel. Once you feel your brush sticking to the polygel, then you know that it needs to be dipped back into the slip solution. But you don't really need a lot. The nice thing about polygel is that you can get super close to that cuticle, and it's okay if the brush comes in contact with the skin, because there's no product sensitivity with polygel. The slip solution, again, is an alcohol-based product, so again, no worries on product sensitivity. So all I'm doing is just pushing the product down and molding it into the shape. I'm making sure that I'm covering the entire surface area. I'm going to dip back in because I'm feeling it sticking. And then I like to extend it just ever so slightly over the free edge and then push it back. I kind of encapsulate my free edge when I'm doing tip applications. And you can get super close to that cuticle and nail groove. Now you do want to be a hairline away, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it on camera or not. But when I'm pushing down in my nail groove, I want to be a hairline away. Anything that comes in contact with the skin is going to cause lifting, and it will lift, and you're not going to get proper adhesion. So the nice thing is you can go right in there with your brush and push that product and be that hairline away that you need to be. And now I'm just checking on my side, looking at my arc, making sure that I'm satisfied with my placement. And that I'm not too thick on one side compared to the other. And then once you're satisfied, you would give this a 60-second cure. But we're going to move on to the next finger because that's not going anywhere. So I don't have to worry about it. It's not self-leveling. It's going to stay exactly where I put it. So now I'm going to pick up probably around the same size, maybe a little larger of a bead. Scrape that off. We're going to roll that onto this nail. Now this one, I don't need this to be pretty. Like, I'm not looking for structure. I'm not looking for support. I'm not looking for an arc or an apex. I'm just looking to make sure the entire nail is covered and that it's thin and flat. I'll build my nail when I do my pink and white. Right now, I just need to create my extension. So now I'm patting this product and I'm pulling it all the way onto my form and making sure that it lines up with my nail groove. And as soon as I felt that sticking, and you'll know when it starts sticking, you'll feel your brush stick to the polygel and it almost pulls the polygel away from the nail. And I'm also making sure that I'm lining up with my natural nail groove. And again, I'm not looking for structure. I'm just looking for shape. And I'm just getting it on, making sure that I have enough. That's really long. I don't know where I'm going with a nail this long, but that's okay. I mean, we can really bring this out. The only thing I don't like about these reusable forms is that you really can't get a good stiletto with them. You don't get that nice C curve like you do with the paper sticker forms. But the nice thing with Polygel is that you can sit here and shape this until you're happy with it. So we're just gonna, this is gonna be a really long nail. That's okay, we're gonna have fun with this one then. We'll see what we can do with it. This will be a good nail art. I'll save this for nail art. Okay, so let's give this a 60-second cure. Let's see if I can pinch in a C curve a little bit more with this before I put it in the light. All right, let's give that a 60-second cure. Now our tip overlay, as soon as this is done curing, that's done. You're ready to file and shape. Now with the form, the extension edge. I did that really thin because I know I'm going to be building my nail with my pink and my white. But if I wanted to just do a true sculptured nail, it would be the same thing. You would apply your form, pick your color, whether it's light pink or whatever color you want to do, clear your sculptured nail with, and create your sculptured nail and cure it for 60 seconds. And as soon as it cures, remove the form, file, shape, and contour. It's that easy. You don't have to worry about an extension edge. But because Polygel, each color needs to cure separately, we need to create our extension edge first, which again, as you can see, is really flat. There's no, I mean, other than the nail, plastic nail itself having a little bit of an arc, there's nothing. It's super flat. So now we're going to go ahead and create our reverse smile line and do our pink and white. But if we just built our structure and cured, these are both ready for filing. So we'll do cover pink. Give it a nice squeeze. That's a pretty long nail. Get in the habit of recapping your polygel. You don't ever want the open end to be exposed to LED light, whether it's natural sunlight coming in from a window or, you know, if you leave it laying out on the desk and you put your lamp over it, you just don't want to cure the product into the container. All right, so let's dip into our slip solution and do our reverse pink. So we'll get our pink onto the nail. And I did the dark cover pink just so that we don't see the copper nail underneath, so that I can create a steeper smile line if you wanted to. A more exaggerated, you can do diagonal smile lines, pointed smile lines. Kind of bringing that down, making sure that I'm just a hairline away from my nail groove. And again, one of those benefits of Polygel is that there is no product sensitivity, so it's okay if your brush and the liquid, the slip solution comes in contact with their skin, because it is just an alcohol-based product. It's got conditioning agents in there and fragrance. And now we'll create our smile line. Now you can also file your smile line after. You can cure it and then file it if you want to really sharpen it. I like to do that if I'm doing like a diagonal smile line and I really want that diagonal line to be exaggerated. I'll show you an example of that. I've done one. I gotta find it. It's called a shadowed smile line. So I took black gel polish and put it between my pink and my white so that it had a shadowed line. I tried to do it with silver polish and red. It just wasn't. It needs to be a deep color, a deep dark color. And then just continue to pat and press, and I'm just going to smooth out this top. And here's the beauty of Polygel. You have all the time in the world to work with it until you're satisfied with your smile line. Okay, so I'm satisfied with that. I'm satisfied with my arc, my depth. Just smoothing that out just a bit. And we'll give that a 60-second cure. And while that's curing, I will find my previous Polygel nail that has the shadowed French. So here is the shadowed French. So you can see there's a very thin line of black gel polish between the pink and the white. And now this is elegant pink or light pink. This is not cover pink, so it's a little more sheer. Again, I tried to do it with red polish and it was okay. I was hoping the red would pop a little more, but again, it's so thin and it's meant to be a shadow. So black or grays or dark greens or deep plum purples would be ideal for this type of look. Now, I don't mind this look. I think it's fun. It's creative. Probably more of a pain to upkeep because you would have to file down everything to get the black polish off or just cover it. So not a great maintenance look to do, but it's definitely a fun design to do. You can also do ombre with Polygel, and I'll show you the ombre. The camera probably makes it look a lot nicer than what it is, but I'm truly not a fan of ombre with Polygel. You can, it's just not a nice blend between the pink and the white. On camera, it probably looks fine, but up close and personal, not so much. If you're going to do ombre, stick with hard gel or acrylic. Seems to always look the nicest. All right, so let's squeeze out some of our white so we can do our free edge. And now sometimes I am not the strongest. I have tendonitis that's turning into carpal tunnel. So I have a hard time squeezing just with one hand, so I do need to use two hands. We're going to roll that right onto our free edge. I'm going to grab my slip solution. There's my little. And we'll go ahead and pat that into place. And we'll walk that down. And walk that down all the way into the corner. So I'm just going to scrape some of this off and put it right there on the side where I need it. I could have just used my brush and continue to pat and push it, but that was faster. And again, I'm not worried about what my smile line looks like. I'm just more concerned about getting the product where I need it and making sure that it is fully covered. And I'm just patting, pressing. And smoothing that out a bit. All right, let's give that a 60-second cure. And then we can begin our finish filing. Now, the only thing you do want to make sure that you're doing is making sure that you don't have any excess product underneath the free edge. If you don't have an e-file, it's going to be very difficult for you to file that out. So just kind of make sure you double check that before you cure it. All right, let's give that a 60-second cure. And then we're going to finish our pink and white with our Top It Off top coat. And I did not pick a color to polish our short nail. What do I, let's see, what do I have that's close to me that we can use? What's this one? This one is Be My Sugar Plum. So this color is a creamy plum. It is from the Shake Up the Magic 2020 winter collection or holiday collection. All right, so I'm going to grab my 180 grit file. I'm going to start with my nail groove. Free edge. Nice and gentle around the cuticle. Now, the nice thing about the dust from Polygel, it's a heavier dust and it falls straight to the table. It doesn't come up into your breathe zone, which is another nice benefit to Polygel is that there's not a lot of dust in the breathe zone. Now it does produce just as much dust as any other artificial nail. It's just a heavier dust, so it falls down to the table as opposed to coming up. And we'll do the same for our extremely long sculptured nail. I'm going to shorten this. And I just want to show you with a 180 grit file how easy it is. Let me readjust this to shorten and reshape Polygel. Now, of course, this is way thicker than I need it to be since I just shortened it. So we are going to thin that top out a bit. There we go. Making sure I can see my smile line. Make sure I get any excess white off of my smile line to expose it. And let's push this back into place. See a little more white overlapping my pink right here. So I just want to make sure I get all that out. And then we'll switch to our buffer. I want that more square. All right, let's buff the surface of this nail, and then we'll cleanse the nail, get the dust off, and finish with our Top It Off top coat and polish. And then we will be done with both of these enhancements. At this point, you're going to have your clients go wash their hands to get the dust off. We can just use some nail surface cleanse and a little scrub brush. Get all that dust off. Oop, I see a little more white that needs to come off. Get that dust off, and we'll polish our overlay. So you don't need any more foundation. You can go straight to 2 coats of your choice of color, followed by your top coat of choice, whether it's traditional or matte. Cap that free edge. Give that a 30-second cure. So again, Polygel needs a 60-second cure. Gel polish needs a 30-second cure. Now I've tried to do 3-dimensional designs with Polygel. That's another one that I tried dabbling with. And I wasn't, again, not a fan. Too much effort for a design. I would stick with doing 3-dimensional if you're into 3-dimensional nail art, using acrylic. You have a little more workability with it. The problem with Polygel, you would think because it's so thick that you can create, and I've done it, I wish I'd saved it, but you can create petals and leaves, and you can use like the end of the spatula to create the design. It's the problem I have with it is you need to seal the nail first, and then the Polygel doesn't adhere to the top coat very well. And then if you top coat your 3-dimensional design, it loses its dimension and it needs to be sealed. You could do your top coat and then just take a file or an e-file and just buff away the area that you're going to do your 3-dimensional design on. But Polygel still needs to be sealed. I guess your nail art doesn't need to be sealed, but I feel like it would get very grimy looking, dingy looking if you don't seal it. So I don't find that 3-dimensional designs are all that great with Polygel. If I'm going to do 3-dimensional designs, I'm going to do acrylic. Every product has its pros and its cons. All right, so we are going to cure our top coat. Look how beautiful that shine is. Love it. All right, let's give that a 30-second cure, and then we'll cleanse and apply cuticle oil. So again, just like acrylic or hard gels, Polygel, you still want to apply cuticle oil regularly to help prolong and prevent lifting. So as soon as that cures, we'll cleanse the nail and then we'll apply our nourish. Other things that I like to use Polygel for is nail repair, natural nail repair. In addition, I use either hard gel, and I like to use the clear gel in the hard gel line versus the builder gel. It's a thinner viscosity gel. Or I do the natural clear Polygel. as a nail mending. And it really depends on what I'm mending. So if I have a nail that's cracked pretty far down, I'll either do a really thin application of the natural clear and buff that into the nail over the damaged area and then let that grow out, because polygel does not soak off. So I can soak off my gel polish and not worry about the mended area needing to be repaired again, which is another reason why I use hard gel. So I switch between the two, either a hard gel or the polygel. Now, if it's a repair like this thumb, the corner, I don't know if you can see that, but the corner of, let me go where there's a dark spot, the corner of my nail chipped off. I don't necessarily think I would repair that with polygel. I could, but I keep my nails fairly short, so I would just file that down and maybe use structure gel, which is a soak off builder gel, to repair just that corner, since it's such a minor repair and I'm going to be filing that down anyway. So depending on what the repair is will determine whether or not I use polygel, hard gel, or structure gel. So again, polygel is great for natural nail repair as well. And then I like to use just the matte top coat. So there you have it. We have our sculptured pink and white and our tip overlay. And that concludes our webinar for today. The last step we're going to do is apply that nourishing oil and rub that in. With incredible shine, incredible structure, and it's not going anywhere. It's a nice enhancement, fast, easy, no odor. So if you are working in a pure odorless salon, this is the way to go. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. And again, for more information on Nail Alliance products, please be sure to contact the account executives at your new school to get these products into your schools. And again, for future webinars, you would contact myself at maries@yournewschool.com. Thank you and have a great day.